there's a lot of guys in my position that aren't heard, that aren't known about, that don't even, have these kind of conversations, because they're just so in and out of the league so fast. You could do everything possibly right. Um, but I mean, a lot of it's out of your control, dude. You know what I mean? But the one thing you can't control is the effort you put into that. Um, One of these documentaries we watched, growing up in high school that our coaches just instilled in us. I watched it multiple times and became obsessed with it too. Was Perfect Effort. Um, it was a documentary of De La Salle and their winning streak, and they talk about just the culture they built and just having a perfect effort in everything they do. So I kind of just had perfect effort in everything I did, and that's the best way I could, kind of gain control of my life. Or my career, right? So, but yeah, man, it's crazy. Not everyone, gets the superstar title. It definitely cards have to be dealt and they work in your favor, right?
Alex, welcome to the pod, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, bro. Appreciate you for having me.
Super excited for this. We were joking around before we started recording. I'm always excited when I get to interview a former 49er because as people who listen to this pod probably already know, they're probably sick and tired of me talking about the 49ers. But listen, it's a great organization. I'm happy to be a fan of the team. And so I'm sure we'll get into some pretty awesome stories regarding the 49ers and your time with them. But before we get into any of that, I always start with this one question. I ask every single guest, if someone has just clicked on this video and they have no idea who you are, why do
Yeah.
you think they should stick around and listen to what you have to say?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it's just a testimony of, hard work paying off, being a warrior on the field and being a warrior off the field. I think for me, it's just, I didn't have a typical journey for an NFL player. When I drafted, you know, I wasn't the most talented guy in the room. I had to work my butt off to maintain my talent and enhance my skills, in the off seasons and maximize. So if anybody's like doubting themselves or, just fearful of the process, like really just hard work does pay off. I'm a full believer in that. And, I think my career can attest to that.
You said warrior on and off the field. How do you define that? Like, what
Yeah,
does that look
warrior.
like?
Yeah, warrior on the field to me was just being a pros pro, doing everything I possibly can to keep a job right on the field. Teams, it doesn't matter. I mean, most of my career was practice squad, right? I'd had to do offensive scout stuff just to help the team, fulfill practice. I had to take multiple reps just to get us through, doubling down in some of our practices, right? So just a warrior, right? And even going into training camp and, almost being the only defensive lineman healthy, year after year, and having to take all these reps, and really just being a warrior for the team and, tested to my character, right? Just kind of persevering through all those things. And then off the field, man, it's really, for me, it's a warrior in Christ, right? My football journey stopped. But, my Christ journey began. As soon as I stepped off that field, I dove into my faith, was baptized, and I'm super passionate about that. And if there's any athlete out there listening, faith is can eliminate all that, all that fear, all that anxiety, um, you know, that cloudiness in your mind. Diving in and understanding that I was worthy of having a relationship with Christ. I was deserving, because most of my career I didn't feel like I was. I feel like my goal was again, and I feel like I deserved active roster spot. So I battled that year after year. And I didn't feel like I needed to pray for these things, because lots more people are going through way worse stuff. Right. I'm very blessed for I'm very blessed and being in the position in the room that I'm in. Right. So, but yeah, being a warrior, helping young men understand, their faith more, understand the game more, how to become a pros pro, and ultimately help their, dreams come true.
I always hear that phrase whenever I interview former or even current NFL players, a pros pro. And I've
Mhm.
always wanted to ask, and I never had the opportunity, like, what does that look like on a daily basis? Like, what habits, what are you doing? Like, how would you define a pros pro?
Man, pros pro really goes down to details, and really being trustworthy and accountable. When you're in a room full of men who have families and jobs, and you have to hold yourself to a high standard, and make sure you're doing your part as an individual to help the team win. Because overall, what keeps you a job and gets you seen as winning games, right? So um being a pros pro is just taking care of business, man. It's really just being detailed in everything you do, from sleeping to nutrition to dialing the body, spending extra time in recovery, training, and really just holding yourself to high standard to where you build trust throughout that building no matter what. And your teammates can rely on you. That alone, you focus on those things, you pretty much got that pro stamp, and people can trust you, and that keeps you a job, that keeps you on the field, and that keeps you just winning on every rep.
Is that something that you came into the league knowing and understanding, or is that something that you learned from someone, you try to model after someone that you saw? Like, how did that go down?
Man, for me, it's really started from high school coaches. Very blessed to be around, um, a group of men that helped me understand what working hard looked like, what being tough looked like, what building a culture looked like, with your brothers in the room. And it kind of just carried over. That same environment we built in high school carried over to where I went to college in San Diego State. Rocky Long was our head coach. We were very tight knit. Again, we worked hard. We held each other accountable. We developed a strong bond, and just through that, you kind of become your own kind of leader. And that's kind of where it all started, right? And when you enter the league, you're going to be surrounded by veterans, and then you're going to be. I was blessed to go to the Detroit Lions undrafted in 2017. I mean, I just had vets that just were surrounding me. Can tap into, ask them anything. They gave back their wisdom. Really just being obedient in that, and retaining that, and understanding that they've experienced this at a way higher level than we have, and we're the new men in the room. Let's follow these pros that have already established that foundation. So that's kind of how it kind of took its toll on me, man. It really was just development. I've just had great organizations that help me develop, and I just absorbed. That's it.
I forgot to mention this before we start recording, but there are two former Aztecs on this call right now in this podcast. I was there from 2015 and I graduated in 2019.
Oh,
So
what?
summer of 2019. Yeah. So we might have
Okay,
overlapped. Maybe I saw you on campus sometime. I don't know.
dude. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, I was there 2012 through 2017 when I entered the league.
Yeah.
So, yeah, redshirted. Dude, that's crazy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Small world. San Diego
Aztecs,
State, man.
Aztecs.
Fantastic, fantastic college, amazing town like San Diego. I've always told people if you haven't been to San Diego, like you're doing yourself a disservice. It's an amazing city. There's almost too much to do. Like as a student, sometimes I
Yeah.
felt like it was too distracting. So I can only imagine as a football player, like trying to get your workouts in and stuff. It's like,
Oh yeah.
damn, like do I want to go to this workout? Do I want to go to the beach? Do I want to go downtown? Like I have to imagine you were faced with a lot of distractions.
Dude, we were, but at the end of the day, like our leadership, our mentorship, our coaches let us know that, hey, this is a beautiful city, but don't get in trouble. It's gonna affect you. You know what I mean? You're gonna get disciplined. You're gonna probably get kicked off the team. Don't put the team in jeopardy. Right, was the biggest thing. And if you did, I mean, you just weren't there. And you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that guy that's always a problem. Then you're not reliable. Then you're looked at differently, right? So I made it a point to never be that guy. I'm very lucky. I did have, a good time. We did the beach things on the weekends. We, went downtown. There's so much to embrace in San Diego. So it'll always be a piece of my heart. But yeah, man, it's definitely distraction city for sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah, for sure. Going back to the topic of pros pro, you said how when you first went to Detroit, you were surrounded by these vets who were able to teach you a lot of amazing stuff.
hmm
One of those guys may have been Matthew Stafford, who
hmm
I've interviewed teammates of his who have talked about Stafford and just how
yeah.
great he is, and as a leader and as a player, and he has this photographic memory and all these amazing attributes that make Stafford Stafford.
Mhm.
my question to you is, what was your impression of Stafford? And then if you want to expand on some of the guys specifically that helped you along, especially in the beginning, because like you mentioned, and as I can imagine, the beginning part has to be the toughest. Like coming from a school like San Diego, and I say a school like San Diego because San Diego State isn't typically known for, being the top of the college football rankings, right? It's not
Yep.
a quote unquote football school. Like everybody likes to say that we're a basketball school, not a football school. It's like you come from the school where football isn't maybe the main thing, like the culture. I mean, great coaches, like you said, but the football culture compared to some of the bigger schools isn't necessarily there. So like you go from there to a place like Detroit. Like what was, again, Stafford and some of those vets specifically, what did you learn from them?
Yeah, ironically, I was locker mates with Stafford. I mean, we were right there. So I got to see Stafford, observe him. Very soft-spoken man, respect the crap out of him. He led our team, and I mean, look what he's done. Won a Super Bowl with the Rams. And he's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback, dude. I mean, the guy has just been an elite pros pro. Held himself to the highest standard. When he entered that building, headphones in, hit the weight room, he was about his work, right? And that kind of just bleeds into everyone else. And then honestly, dude, like just him being a competitor, like I remember games just being tight, man, and this guy just coming through, banged up, it didn't matter. He's going to put it all on the line for his team. So, his ability and his competitiveness just bled into the building, right? And it fueled the whole team. So definitely a captain that we looked up to during our time there. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. We were locker mates, and I've had some chats with him. Obviously, I'm a rookie, and I'm just like, oh, like just absorbing anything. So, but man, all nothing but respect for Matthew and everything he's accomplished, man. And just observing him, man, really just helped me understand like how to take care of my body. The extra maintenance you got to do after you hit the field. Go roll out and all this stuff. You'll see him doing everything, right? Other leaders that I had and role models that mentored me, as a rookie was, Haloti Nada, very, very blessed to be around a freak athlete like that. A D tackle that really took all us D line rookies in and kind of, showed us how to take care of ourselves, the importance of diet, um, you know, being on time. And then, I mean, just overall developing what it looks like to stay in this league, right? So, him and definitely Kerry Hyder, much similar guy to me, undrafted D tackle. When I came into the league, he just got done with a really big season. Um, I think on his third year. But dude, honestly, he was someone that got injured in preseason and allowed me to get more reps on the field. And I took advantage of that, was making plays. And I mean, I remember him coming, coming to me like after game one. He's like, hey, like the coaches, I want to have a talk with you. They're really liking what you're doing. Keep at it, just keep chopping. I'm down this year, but this is your time to shine. And that just inspired me. I mean, he was always there for me. And I mean, I've seen him later down in the career as well when he came back to SF, man. But yeah, I mean, that year I made the, 53-man roster, right? So that's my guy. Yeah, he was one that just poured into me as well, my rookie year. And then, yeah, man, I mean, I can go on all day about all the other men in that room that had an effect on me in some way or form, right? But the biggest one obviously would be my D line coach for sure. Coach Chris. He was my he was my D line coach my rookie year. Left my second year, but we crossed paths again in SF, man. So he taught me everything I needed to do to keep a job, and really just came down to just doing right longer and stacking days, right? So um, very simple formula, but you have to really be intentful in everything you do every day, right? So, but yeah, those are my people that helped me develop, man. So nothing but love for those guys if they come across this. So, but yeah,
One thing, and I've been trying to find it. One thing that I was thinking about while you were talking about culture and the example of Matthew Stafford, there's
yeah,
this quote from Michael Jordan where basically he talks about how he was willing to do whatever it took, and beyond that, like he didn't ask anyone to do something that he wasn't willing to do. And so,
yes,
like when you're saying the story about Stafford and how headphones in, he's in the gym working. Like clearly, like that's a guy that he's showing everyone else, like, hey, this is how much I'm willing to work, and this
Hmm.
is the expectation. And it's almost it's powerful leadership without saying a whole ton of words, right? Like there's probably a more eloquent way to say that, but
Leading by
it's
example.
there
Leading
you
by
go,
example.
leading by
Yeah.
example, perfect. And so I like think about Stafford, I think about MJ in that regard. I think about Steph Curry. Like I just finished reading his book Shot Ready, which is fantastic.
Wow.
Steph Curry is very similar in that manner, where like he admits he was like, hey, I wasn't the loudest, like the most vocal leader in the locker room. Like we had Draymond Green for that. Like, Draymond was kind of the yin to his yang, where like Draymond would yell and do all the thing and lead by that example, or lead
Hmm.
in that manner. And then Steph Curry was a lot more of a, hey, I'm gonna just lead by example. Like you're gonna see the work that I put in, you're gonna see the sacrifice, you're gonna see all those things. And I wonder too, like I've had athletes and I've always asked like what makes for a good culture, and like what are the key elements of it. And I almost wonder if just the biggest element within that is having your top players, or even the majority of your players, just leading by example, so that when new players filter in, they see that and they follow. Like is that
Yeah.
is that what you would say? Like what are some of those key elements of culture in your eyes?
Yeah. I think that's spot on, dude. Is having like-minded men with the same kind of drive and mission. Their character speaks through everything they do. In the first, I mean, I experienced that with the Lions, and then stepping into the Niner facility. I saw that shift that when Kyle and John came in, and what they, built and what they've continued to build as a culture. And year after year after year, I just see a common theme, just humble individuals that come in, they do their job, they do their work, they do more, they take care of their body. They're not rah rah. They just show up and they give effort and their technique's flawless. And they're highly developed. So I can tell you for a fact that that's what they focus on, is like what men they're bringing in the building. And that alone it's either you're going to join us or you're going to fall behind and you won't be here. Right. So that kind of it just funneled. It's kind of like, that's just the standard. So, having, men that operate as true pros, and having a lot of them, carries your team a long way. So it's inevitable at that point.
I want to ask about something that you said earlier, dealing
Yeah.
with or actually being consistent, stacking days.
Yeah.
But before I ask that question, I want to kind of set this up for the audience. So, for those
Yeah.
unfamiliar with your specific journey, just lead us through from the time that you make it to the Lions until
Hmm.
essentially, retiring from the league. Just
Yeah.
the amount of times that you were cut, the amount of times that you're re-signed to a practice squad, all of those different transactions. Lead us through kind of your story within the NFL.
Yeah. Rookie year 2017, undrafted, make the 53-man roster. That's just the beginning. 2 games in, I get released. They want to look at just a veteran type body. And I'm on the practice squad the rest of that year. So that was kind of my first release. Definitely hit me emotionally. I had all the feelings, you know, just going through. I remember talking to my pops about it. And yeah, I just really just got back to work. They kept me on their practice squad and finished out the year, and it kind of turned over to the next year. The second year in Detroit, our D line coach left. Our scheme changed with Matt Patricia. It was a whole roller coaster of just learning, right? Early in the spring, they wanted me to be a Mike backer, um, and I kind of tested that out and kind of find my role as like a Sam outside linebacker, right? Stand up, a little bit different than what I'm used to. So there's a big learning curve there. Ended up getting cut, doing fairly well in the preseason, but spending 4 weeks on that practice squad that season, and then you know really just on the couch. Was on the couch. My brother, Ashawn Robinson, took care of me. I lived with him. I was able to train and find my mentor who really propelled my career in training. His name was David Lawrence, Mecca Training Facilities out of Detroit, Michigan. And that changed my mindset with, how I started training, weight room, eccentric loading, staying healthy, changing my diet, and really just working on my body comp and, be more explosive. And yeah, dude, I mean, I just kept my head down, I knew I could play in the league, had an opportunity to play with the San Diego Fleet. That kind of took me into 2019, where I kind of went to the first minor league. Now you see UFL, XFL, but before that was the AAF. Um, and yeah, I played with the San Diego Fleet team, bro. Talk about like journey, like just going back to square one. Really just kept my head down and really got my mojo back, to be honest with you. I was I didn't have that, kind of fear and anxiety around losing my job every week and every day. I played, I went to camp, I balled, and I kind of earned like that first string starting spot. And when you have that, it's easy to keep it because you're just at the top. You're playing well. You're not worried about messing up. You're taking shots, kind of things you wouldn't do if you're a bubble guy, on the roster, right? You trying to. There's risk to reward. I'm like, I'm a fourth round guy in an NFL locker room. If I take a shot to, and put myself in a bad position to make a play, I mean, it could work out, but then there's a risk it can't, and I'm going to get reamed, right? So it's your window for taking shots like that kind of changes. But when you're a guy and you're a starter and you got respect in that building, um, you're free. So I kind of got that freedom back, dude. Played great ball. Season ended in 8 games. We were supposed to go 10. The league folded. But blessed enough to, receive a call from the Oakland Raiders and signed there April 5th. And yeah, man, just that kind of got me back into the league. And that's kind of where my league journey sparked back up. And man, this is gonna be long winded. You ready?
I'm
Yeah.
ready. Let's
I
do it.
mean, dudes, because yeah, this is like all the nitty gritty, man. I mean, just went through a lot, playing 8 games and jumping into spring ball with the NFL. Like I didn't realize how it was gonna affect my body. Like I was burnt, and I got to roll into a training camp. Maybe 40 to 30 days off before a training camp. So good thing I was young, right? But yeah, went with Oakland, carried over to training camp, playing well. Like my special teams was humming. I was just back against the wall. This is it, right? We had John Gruden as our head coach. There was opportunity. And then game 2, I sustained a high ankle sprain. That high ankle sprain put me back. I settle. I'm back home, dude. Back in Arizona training. Have about 6 more weeks of recovery. And really that kind of led to like my first credited season because, I was on IR, right? Rookie year didn't count because I only had 2 games. So now I'm like learning more about, you got to get these benefits, right? Okay, I got to get 3 years in. So I go through, work out with a couple teams. My ankle's not ready yet. When that league folded in the AAF earlier that year, I had to reach out to all my contacts I have that, from Detroit Lions. Chris was one of them, Coach Chris. Sent him a big message, just finished up some great ball. Can you check out the tape? I'm ready to go. I just need a shot. That message, I didn't get a response then, but it was heard. And, next thing you know, in November of 2019, he's calling me for a workout. Hey, you do your thing, show out like I know you can, they'll sign me. So I had a great workout. They signed me. And that was, dude, high horse back in the league, on the practice squad, but really just carrying the team's energy into that Super Bowl run that year, man. So it was, that was great to see. Every game was so intense that year. The Saints game, the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, dude, so I just got to see so much. Our D line was one of the best D lines that came across, that room, during the years I've been there. And I mean, dude, we had Defoe, Eric, we had, Solomon Thomas, we had Ronnie Blair when he was healthy. I mean, dude, we can keep going, and D Ford. So, I mean, just seeing all that talent and Bosa, early, I think rookie year. So it's like, yeah, I mean, so that got me back in the league, and I am, doing everything I need to do, taking every snap I need to take, and then carrying over to 2020 year. That 2020 year, as you know, was rough for everybody, right? Um, do I sit out? Do I play? I mean, I was training all year because they canceled OTAs and or they made it shorter. Or no, they didn't cancel it. They extended it to like a 2 week extra on top of training camp that year, right? So as soon as I get there, I think about a week in before that 2020 season, they cut me. Um, 2 weeks in, I don't recall what exactly they cut me for, but they're like, hey, we just got to make a room on the roster, and we need this position because someone's hurt. They bring me in, and they tell me to stay local. So I stay local during that time. I literally stay in like a hotel, like the extended stay right up the street, right there in Santa Clara. And I'm just working out. At that time, I'm working out the Air Force Base. That's the only place I could work out. Everything else was shut down. Blessed for that. Um, and I kind of just stuck around, man. Didn't know what was going to happen, but kind of just trusted the process. And eventually, just I couldn't afford to stay there no more, so I had to go back home. Right. Went back home, trained about 3 weeks into the season, or no, trained. Well, no, actually, what happened was I was training, stayed local. They brought me in for the last 4 days of training camp. I came in and I balled. Like I played well. I was making plays, but at that time, there's no position for me. You're right. No matter how well I do, they needed me and they want to. They knew what I was about. They want me to finish out the job. And yeah, help them get through the camp. Right. So they released me. Then that's when I go home. I go home for 3 weeks. So I mean, I'm just released, not making rosters, just kind of just in that gray area of like, what do I got to do to make it? I need to be on the field. I need to get tape. I'll do whatever it takes. Gathered that tape, but man, I got hurt. I got rolled up on. How can I, reestablish myself? So I went back home, just got back on the horse and started training. Week 3 of that 2020 season, they called me, brought me in for practice squad. Bosa had went down. Solomon Thomas had went down. They brought in a vet, Ziggy Ansah, former teammate from Detroit Lions. And we were just, we got to go. We need you. So I came out there, joined the practice squad. And from there, I was, blessed enough to play, 7 games that year, right? Up and down. They're going to cut me multiple times because it just kind of they had to do it that year. It could cut you, but bring you, but no one can. It was like, I got cut like 7 times. So, but yeah, overall, they still wanted me on the team. So, not our best years, as Niner Nation, but, we got through it. I was on the field. I was like, oh yeah, I can play, I can play. I'm good. I wish, I mean, COVID year was just like, it was kind of like survival year, right? I did the best. I did everything I possibly could. If I look back at it now, I probably trained too long, in that off season because I just didn't know when we were going to start up and kind of burnt myself out. So I learned from that as well. But dude, yeah, I mean, grateful. I mean, I played my 7 games and then from there, just to shorten it up, dude, 2021 through 2025 until I played my last 3 games with the Niners. I spent 4 years on that practice squad, um, doing anything I needed to do every training camp, getting the superstar title in training camp, just balling, playing well. I mean, I did it at D tackle, being unblockable, having, assistant GMs being like, why is he on the team? Making noise, man. And inevitably was just put in a position where I don't know. I kind of was just kind of in the box, right? So I felt it hard, but I still showed up. I'm a team guy. I don't really care. I'm going to keep going until, you know, something's heard, right? So yeah, and it wasn't 4 years later, deserving many roster spots in my opinion, and balling and just going through the ups and downs of just waiting for my opportunity. There was last 3 games in 2024 season, so carried over to 25 early in January, where I was able to participate. Played my final 3 games. ironically, against like some key teams. I think the last one was against the Detroit Lions, so I ended with the Detroit Lions. Played against the Cardinals at home, so I got to go back home. But yeah, dude, I mean, making plays, on teams and having guys in the locker room come up to me and be like, "Hey, if you had a full year of playing on the special teams, do you think you could be all pro?" Hell yeah, I could. I knew I could. I knew what I was capable of. But at some point, I mean, you got to weigh out your options. Like, how's this affecting my family? Where's my energy and where's my time going? If I put a lot into ball, I don't think there's anybody out there that has worked as hard as, I ever have. I mean, double days in the summer, obsessing over it. Don't you really take a week or two off after season, just because I always had that, just that fear, just that chip on my shoulder. I always knew I had to grow every year. I had to get better. So I invested a lot in myself. Every dollar I had went back into the game, my body, my training, spending money, almost didn't have just to sustain, right? Just because I knew my situation. I knew the politics I was battling. I knew I was undersized. I knew all the doubt. But I was obsessed, with making it and making sure no one was outworking me. So I think that alone kind of, puts its own little testimony within my journey, right? So, but yeah, that wraps up, about my ninth year in the league, in 2025 and, getting cut and, short story, guy, yeah, you're kind of old, Alex, man. We want to see these young guys, right? We want to see what they could do. Okay, I get it, but calling me back, and for that 2025 season training camp, and I'm just like, I just I just can't put myself in that position again, right? And I need to focus on all my off the field ventures to really, um, you know, really just change chapters in my life, man. Right. So, sorry for that long rant of, my journey, man, but you can shorten it up in the cuts. But dude, it was, yeah, there's a lot I gained through it. It's not like, um, everyone else's journey in the league, getting paid what they deserve. I'm on a practice squad budget, living in the highest tax state, living in the most expensive area, right here in Santa Clara, San Jose, SF, rents a pain, having to, find ways to make extra income off the field. Cause I don't get big paychecks in the spring like everyone else does. So working through that, right? But working through that for 9 years, because I was always a practice squad guy, right? Even though I was a vet, it was like very awkward and weird. Um, I'm respected, but I'm not paid like I'm getting respected, like I'm respected. And I was always in that category. 2020, they introduced the veteran practice squad paychecks, where they make almost double what a regular practice squad or rookie would make. And just because I didn't have a certain number of games, I kind of was stuck in that rookie paycheck throughout my 9 years in the NFL. So, when it goes down to finances, dude, it's like decisions had to be made and, not much I can say. And they kind of knew that because I didn't have those games, those 4 years I was on practice squad. Um, Even though I probably could have took advantage of my opportunity, right? But that's just the business. You know what I mean? So, lots to it. I definitely gave everything I possibly could. And I think I took that relentless mindset, the Tim Grover mindset to my approach. And, I'm not regretful for it. So,
First of all, do not apologize at all. Because the reason, and all jokes aside, the reason I wanted to have you on this podcast is because your journey represents something that I've been thinking a lot about recently, which is this concept of it's almost like a success fallacy. And what I mean by that is like, and I've talked about it before on the pod. We see all these examples, and this is in no way me talking crap about a Tom Brady or any athlete who has achieved the
yeah,
absolute best in their sport.
yes.
But we see all these examples on social media of like, well, if you work hard, if you do A, B, and C, then you too will be Tom Brady. You too will achieve, the absolute best that your sport can offer. And that's all fine and dandy. And you see in entrepreneurship too, like if
Hmm.
you just grind 24/7 like an Elon Musk or a Jeff Bezos or, insert your favorite entrepreneur here, you too will achieve millions and billions and all these things. And one of the things that I spoke about to Kurt Benkert about on the last pod was how luck is a big component of all of this.
Yep.
And many people dismiss luck because it's something that they feel like they can't control. It's like this magical pixie dust that just comes in, swoops in, and grants you, this luck, and all of a sudden you are now, Tom Brady or Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
But there's a big aspect of luck. Like, luck plays a major role. And so one of the reasons why I love your journey and I love your perspective, because you did all the things. You had the mindset. You had the hard work. Like, you did the double days. You sacrificed a lot. And when you look back on your career, you say, hey, if I had a chance to play special teams all year, I'd be an all pro. So listen, things didn't fall your way perhaps. And the dominoes didn't fall in the manner that you wish they had, but had they, maybe we'd be talking about Alex Barrett all pro. Right. So
Yeah.
I say all that to say, like, there's a big component of luck. And so that's why on this pod, what I try to do as well is, like, yes, all that advice is great. Like, and the fact of the matter is, like, if you don't work hard, if you don't do all these things, you're not giving yourself a shot to be lucky.
Yep.
And so you have to give yourself a shot to be lucky. That's why hard work is important. That's why all those things are important. I
Oh yeah.
just read a quote from James Clear. I don't know if you've read Atomic Habits, but fantastic book.
Beautiful.
James Clear said, what we call luck is often not purely random, but rather the delayed byproduct of consistently putting yourself in good positions.
Mm.
The
Hmm.
delayed byproduct of consistently putting yourself in good positions. That's how he defines luck.
Yeah.
So I say all that because, again, I'm talking to a guy who did all the things, but perhaps didn't reach the heights that he wanted to. Like, what are
Hmm.
your thoughts as I kind of talk about all that? Like, what comes to mind?
Say that quote again one more time, please.
James Clear said, what we call luck is often not purely random, but rather the delayed byproduct of consistently putting yourself in good positions.
Yeah. No, yeah, I really do like that because the delayed byproduct of of consistently putting yourself in good positions. So for me to obtain that, control of luck, right? I put myself in a position in my eyes of, you know, what it took to achieve success in the NFL. And that was doing right longer. That was spending the off seasons and overtime and training my body to become more explosive, become injury prone and stay on the field because at the end of the day, being available is the only way you stay on the field. So I constantly made sure I was available no matter how hard they pushed me in training camps, everything they made me do. I spent overtime of, yeah, again, consistently, recovering, and put myself in a position to where I can't shut down. They can't deny me. I'm making plays. They can't say no. So I in that way, through that quote, I feel like I captured my own luck, and that kept me in the league, right? Propelling in the league, um, that's all timing of situations. There's so much that goes, so many different moves are happening. One guy could go down, I get sick that day, and another guy gets the opportunity and he flourishes. Dude, there's so many different ways I've heard. Superstars came from, just an opportunity, and I constantly prepared for the opportunity. In that, big game and that call up, I'm ready to go. I've had multiple conversations where that could have been a situation. Cause all it just took is one time. Right. Just the games I played were, not our biggest seasons. Right. I still, put on a show for myself and, um, you know, played well. But dude, yeah, I think, that's kind of missed, and I'm glad you focus on that because there's a lot of guys in my position that aren't heard, that aren't known about, that don't even, have these kind of conversations, because they're just so in and out of the league so fast. You could do everything possibly right. Um, but a lot of it's out of your control, dude. You know what I mean? But the one thing you can't control is the effort you put into that. One of these documentaries we watched, growing up in high school that our coaches just instilled in us. I watched it multiple times and became obsessed with it too. Was Perfect Effort. Um, it was a documentary De La Salle and their winning streak, and they talk about just the culture they built and just having a perfect effort in everything they do. So I kind of just had perfect effort in everything I did, and that's the best way I could, kind of gain control of my life, or my career, right? So, but yeah, man, it's crazy. Not everyone, gets the superstar title. It definitely cards have to be dealt and work in your favor, right? So
Yeah. The reason I wanted you to go through your entire NFL
yeah,
journey, part of it was for me to hear it firsthand, but
yeah.
selfishly, but secondly, um, I did want to ask, like, how do you maintain that consistency when everything around you seems to be so uncertain? And I'll pair that question with something that I heard Alex Hermosi talk about recently, who Alex Hermosi, entrepreneur, creates
I know,
content. I love a lot of this stuff.
of course.
Um, he said the most difficult part is the uncertainty. Because if I told you at the beginning of your NFL career, hey, Alex, if you do X, Y, and Z, you will become an NFL pro bowler. You'd say, perfect. I'll do X, Y, and Z. Like, no problem. Like, that's my dream. Consider it done. The problem is you were doing X, Y, and Z. You were doing the hard work, not knowing if it was going to pay off or not.
Hmm.
I'm creating content. I'm doing this podcast, not knowing if this is going to go anywhere. Like, this could just, it could just be what it is.
Hmm.
Entrepreneurs build businesses not knowing if the business is going to succeed or not. So
Hmm.
the difficulty is doing it in spite of the uncertainty. So how did you continue to work hard, continue to be a pro's pro, even when like playing time wasn't, a sure thing, being on the team wasn't even a sure thing? Like how did you deal with that?
Yeah, I guess I kind of just built my own form of culture and identity internally to where um, through my career, being tough and working hard in high school was the standard. That's how I made it to college. Showing up, being the strongest guy in the weight room, competing, not losing reps in college, um, you know, being a nose tackle and, being two-time all conference and, just earning everything I did was just a testimony to all the work I put in. So I kind of built like that culture of that's that standard that needs to be held, eternally. And I need to hold myself to the that higher standard. And then, that carried over into the league. I just got to bust my butt, man. I just got to continue to find ways to grow. I built a growth mindset over a fixed mindset. I never, there's going to be doubt and fear, but that's kind of where your faith takes over. And I wish I had more faith to guide me through that because it would have quieted my mind more. But it just, again, it was God's timing, and he was always there. So, and I'm grateful for that. So it, yeah, kind of just, man, just again, an internal thing that was developed with experience, going through it. Athletes nowadays want to be in the pros. They want to be, you know, praised and, make all this money. But there's a process to that. There's 5 years in college, 4 years in high school. That's 9 years, and then 9 more years in the league to just stay. That's at least 10 plus years of experience you need to obtain before you make it, right? So, and with that, a toughness is developed, a sense of overcoming obstacles is developed, just persevering. All this stuff that um, you you need to be put through. You know what I mean? To even know how to get to that higher form or higher achievement, right? So, and then you just learn from that. You learn from it. You make yourself better after every year. I always told myself I need to work and I need to be better than I was last year. Was always my thing. From writing goals on sticky notes and putting on a thing. I want a number of sacks. I want a number of this. This is what I have to do preseason. This is what I have to do to stand out. I have to get more explosive this offseason, to where my get off is better this year than it's ever been. I have to get better every year, right? Otherwise, I'm just falling behind and I'm staying the same, and you can never stay the same. You have to always stand out, say some way, form, or fashion. So that kind of was, yeah, just to develop through experience, right? And uncertainty, you kind of just got to be comfortable with it, right? You got to be, what do they say? It's uncomfortable being, or to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Is that how they say it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're betting on yourself at the end of the day, you know? So I always knew I was capable, and I was grateful to have a coach that pushed me. So that helps a lot. Mentorship, community, and then like again that internal self that's confident enough to I'm betting on myself and I'm going to keep going. Not ego confidence, not rah cocky confidence, but like just a quiet confidence, right? So that's what keeps you pushing. So for me, that's kind of what I've developed, and tying that back with luck and timing was that confidence. It'll go up and down. My confidence was really high in my fourth year in the league, going into my fifth. It was 2021 training camp. Got cut, came back practice squad. Made it a point. I'm going to just dominate on the practice field. Like they say, you ball out in practice, you're gonna get the opportunity. I'm okay. I'm gonna dominate. I don't care. I was pretty much scout team player of the week every week. I was, I mean, after that season, they're like, you're the best practice squad player we've seen here in 18 years. You know what I mean? Like, you did everything we needed you to do. But again, they just kept bringing in the people they wanted, right? Free agents, guys with bigger body frames, this and that. They didn't fully believe in me yet. But that's when my confidence, I was, ready to go. I was humming. And then as you go through the journey, I moved to D tackle. My confidence was there too. Setting the edge at a three technique. They can't operate their offense. What is he doing? This is like exactly what you're looking for as a D tackle, right, coach? Yes. Just the guy. And, kind of hitting that wall too of like, well, shit, I did it at defensive end. I did it at defensive tackle. I'm winning all my one-on-ones. I'm stopping practices because I'm making plays. Like, what else do I got to do? So confidence is huge. And that just tied in with the timing, right? And um, going back and learning that, it was just like, I kind of just missed my window and it was out of my control, but I was consistently taking care of what I needed to for those moments to even happen, to get that praise just in the building. It's not going to be, I'm not going to get a praise around, the rest of the league, which I wanted, I wanted the league to hear me and know who I was. I only achieved that in this building with the San Francisco 49ers. So that alone, I'm happy with. They know, I mean, I can go there and, I mean, it'd just be a reunion and I'll be there soon, but, they know what I did over there, and they know that there's that respect there, man. I mean, they've told me multiple times, and I mean, for me, it was like, oh, that's great, but man, just want to play, even this last year, just kind of watching from afar, it's like, dang, man, I'm 32. This is my prime. You know what I mean? All my wisdom and experience, in my eyes, I can play till I'm 39, just like James Harrison did, because I train and prepare my body like James Harrison did. You know what I mean? But you know, there comes a point in time where sometimes it's not worth it. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, there's a other side rant.
Yeah. You know what the other thing I think about too, man, is like if I were to answer my own question, like, playing with uncertainty and all this, and like
Yeah,
if someone were to ask me like, hey, I'm starting a podcast, but like, I'm not sure if it's going to work. Like, how'd you deal with the uncertainty? Like, whatever.
yeah,
I would kind of just look at it from the perspective, like, and what? Like, how do your actions change? Because I am a very like action oriented person. So like I look
yes,
everything from the perspective of like, are my actions going to change because of this belief that I have, or because of this thing that I am scared of, or because of this uncertainty? And if they are not, then why am I wasting my time concerned with it, or even letting it enter my mind? Like if I enjoy podcasting for the sole reason of I'm curious, I love
yep,
talking to athletes like yourself, I love asking questions. This, like,
Yeah.
I leave every podcast with more energy than when I started. If those things are all true, then why does it matter if there's this like uncertainty looming over here? Because my actions aren't going to change. I'm going to continue podcasting.
Hmm.
You may have been on the practice squad,
Yeah.
and the San Francisco 49ers could have, you know, sent you a text or however they notify you, bringing you into their office, John Lynch, hey, we're going to have to let you go tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if you're still going to work hard and if you're still going to do all these things, then why does that matter in a way? Like, your
Yeah.
actions are not changing. You're still doing the thing and you're going to continue doing the thing. Does that make
Mhm.
any sense at all?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, you can either cripple yourself by obsessing over these thoughts and overthinking about, creating more anxiety in your head and fear, or you can just quiet that mind and just go to work. Because
Mm.
putting in that work, again, what you're passionate about, podcasting, throwing more episodes out there, editing it. Oh my gosh, cutting it up. You know what I mean? Cutting it up, editing it. Yeah, that one got me. So cutting it up,
Yeah.
you're passionate about it. It's like you're able to experience players and hear their stories and their hardships and cut it up and put it into, a reel that can be heard by many people and athletes. And it can inspire them. That's powerful. You know what I mean? You're allowed to drive your mission and then, attack your creativity side. I think those are the two biggest things. That you can possibly do when it comes to a career. And yeah, man, I mean, it's just there's no point to sit in that, man. Just get to work, trust the process. Again, for me, it was tied into like just faith, and being around guys like Brock Purdy, Patrick Taylor, seeing them put together a youth group, or just a team group, and you just talk about the Bible, talk about faith, and how it's helped them in the Jersey during their careers, and seeing, Brock Purdy just, we came from the same town, Gilbert, seeing him just like carry this shield of armor just because his faith is so strong, you know, and people, all the players going to chapel, talking to Pastor Brown and making sure they're getting that word in, attacking the prayers, and giving all that uncertainty to Christ, to God. Let that, whatever it believes, just give it to that. Let go, let God. And I wish, even though he was there, I wish I kind of had that peace of mind, because it kind of would have kept let me sleep better at night some of the seasons and days, right? Because I mean, you'd sit there just like, tomorrow's a big day. I got to make plays. I got to do this. My mind's going. This is all or nothing. So you kind of just get lost in that. But like you said, man, the best way to eliminate that is just, man, just get back to work.
Mm.
You've been doing it your whole life. You're passionate about it. Just keep going. You'll know when it's time. You know what I mean? You'll know when it's time, but don't walk away knowing that you didn't give your all. You know what I mean? And always be willing to try. Biggest thing for me too is another quote that I live by, just internally, was, pain is temporary, quitting is forever. So, um, I just never had a quitter mindset. I'm gonna finish everything through and through, to the best of my abilities.
Love that. You mentioned his name, so I have to ask, Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Um, I'm curious. We spoke a little bit about Matthew Stafford at the beginning and kind of his leadership style.
Mhm.
How would you compare Stafford and Purdy and just Purdy's leadership style? How would you compare
Two,
and contrast to those two guys?
almost identical, dude. Honestly, like, not much is said, not much needs to be said. The dude's gonna go out there and sling the rock. The dude's gonna go out there, run around, do a couple some weaves and ducks, and extend plays and throw a dime. So two of the same, bro. He led by example. I mean, look at me. I'm sitting here talking to him, and how he carried a warp, like a shield of faith, around him, and how I was, like, I want that shield too. Like, this guy came in a 7th round pick, knew what he was capable of, never said nothing. His opportunity came, took full advantage of it by just being him, because he trained in that way, right? And his biggest armor was his faith, you know? So even through the doubt, through the crap that's talked, through the media, all of it, don't change him. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, dude, a true competitor, a cleaner, as Tim S would go over it. He's a cleaner. So yeah, nothing but respect, dude. But much, literally identical. What's up?
I wanted to bring us back to, I have it written down because I didn't want to forget to ask you.
Yeah.
Um, you mentioned, I think it was after the first time that you got cut, you
Yep.
said that you had a conversation with your dad.
Oh yeah,
Do you remember that conversation?
man. It was much more of dad. They cut me and just being emotional. And he's like, you'll be okay. Like, don't worry about it. Just it was very short. But he was just there, right? So, um, and yeah, I'll always remember because he was the first one I called, and it wasn't my mom, it wasn't my agent, but he heard me, whimpering. I was whimpering, man. It was what 2022, fresh in the league, ready. Um, but yeah, he was there, just listening, not much to say, but let me know it'll be okay, and I'll be all right. I made it that far for a reason, and they're keeping you around. Are they going to keep you around? Yeah, they want me on the practice squad still. Okay, well, you still have a shot. You're not out, right? So it's something I remember for a long time, forever. Because shoot, in 2018, one of the biggest hardships I went through was losing him. So it was lost him to stage 4, like liver cirrhosis. It was early in OTAs, my second year. Um, Buried him, and same week we lost him, and went back to OTAs, man, like nothing happened. Because I wanted a job, and I wanted to provide for my family, right? Um, so yeah, it changed everything. But man, he's been with me every step of the way, right? So yeah, I mean, I'll remember it for forever, right? So, but yeah, he's been my guardian angel since, dude. Um, I'll tell you literally how he's been my guardian angel, which is going to be crazy. When I signed with the Oakland Raiders after he passed in 2019, well, he passed 2018, signed with the Oakland Raiders on April 5th, which is my parents' anniversary. So I signed with them on my anniversary. When I left the league and got moved to my next chapter of life, I got released on his birthday, May 19th, 2025. So, I mean, he's been there, man. Anybody that loses anybody, they're with you every step of the way. And you'll see him again. You know what I mean? So it that that's all I needed, and I'm good. No matter how bad I have an itch, I'm like, I just need to go. I need to go set an edge. I need to go rush a passer. I need to go. I want to put on some pads, and I need some contact just to see if I still got it. I'm where I'm supposed to be, man. So, um, but yeah, it's a, it's at the end of the day, it's all beautiful. Life is beautiful.
I appreciate you sharing that because it's, I mean, obviously very, very tough moment in your life. And the one thing that I respect so much about athletes is just how, and I don't know if you ever do truly shut it off, but just the ability to go through something like that. And then, next week you're out there at OTAs and you're, you know, competing for a job. And like, I don't know how you even begin to like process that and like how you try to stay
Yeah.
focused amidst all that. I can only imagine how difficult that is.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And it's something that you just shut off and bury. It took me, I grieve till this day, but it took me 3 years to understand that I was like grieving deep down inside. And that came through therapy work and stuff like that to unlock like, oh, yeah. It's not normal to just take a week off and then go back to work and, act like nothing happened. And, I didn't remove myself from my family, but I went to work because what I was chasing, and that's how I wanted to provide and eventually make the money enough to take care of my family and give back. That was the biggest thing. Um, and yeah, I mean, it kind of everything changed. Like it took a hardship on my family business. My mother, my brother was 14, my other brother was fresh 21, having to step into place of the family business. It changed everything, man. And there's tons of athletes that go through it. Um, and it's almost a disservice in some situations for people, because they're before sometimes asking. I've heard it multiple times about like if they're okay. It's like, when are you coming back to work, right? So um, yeah, it's cutthroat, man. League does not play. Um, they're about their business, and that's something I wish. And maybe one day I'll be able to advocate for the players. Because I've heard it left and right. Um, but yeah, but dude, yeah, it's I did I'm good. I'm in a much better place now. My faith is strong. He was with me every step of the way. I healed. Comfortable sharing and talking about it. And shoot, anybody else goes through it, man. Shoot, I'm a DM away. You'll get my Instagram in this reel, and video, and yeah, reach out, dude. It's never. You mean if you need an ear, I got two, right? So yeah,
No, man, I really appreciate you sharing that. Because like I said, I had Marcel Reese on the pod, and he talked about his father passing and how difficult that was for him.
wow,
And I mean, I could see him choking up during our interview. Like, that
yeah,
stuff, it doesn't, it doesn't go away. It's
yeah.
and
See,
so
him choking up is it tells you that it's still there, it's still fresh. He hasn't
yeah.
engaged in unlocking, that feeling. And that's real emotion, man. You can't make that up, right? Us men in this world, we carry a lot. We want to provide. We have families. We want to, achieve. But I think overall, just really just provide, for our families, man. And yeah, there's a lot of weight. There's a lot of internal battles. And sometimes let's talk about this mental health, right? The league has seen way too many issues, regarding players losing their lives, whether it's, drugs, overdoses, taking their lives. It's these quiet battles, man, that they don't express because the culture of a man, which I was definitely instilled in me, was to never speak about it, shut up, keep going. If you do talk about it, you're soft, you're weak, it's not how it's supposed to be. But I mean, it's okay, dude. And brothers in arms, we can talk about these deep things, and we're here for each other. And hey, you need me, holler, call, I'll pull up right away. I definitely, you know, that's how I operate. You know what I mean? I'm there for my boys all the time. So yeah, dude, it's kind of like this quiet silence that definitely can be loud, and it's not don't ever, if you're battling something, don't ever be afraid to reach out for help. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's just sad, dude. Two players alone. I mean, you had Alden Smith just recently, right? You had Josh Morrow, played with him with the Oakland Raiders, right? One of my closest best friends, his birthday was yesterday. He took his life in 2024, right before Thanksgiving. And I mean, that just destroyed me. And I played in that game and against the Miami Dolphins, made a tackle for him. And I mean, I was just talking to him regularly that year, man. So he just wanted to watch me play in Arizona. So it's like, dude, if you're out there, you're struggling, dude, like we're all here for you. Like, just reach out to your loved ones, let them know what's going on, and we can get you the help. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, it definitely it needs to change 100%. So whatever we got to do, let's figure it out.
Dude, I listen. I appreciate how honest and transparent you are, and I can tell you're being genuine with the conversation that we're having, and
Oh yeah,
it's super easy to see. And I will say, like, as someone before I started this podcast, and
yeah,
I think I speak for let's say the average NFL fan who watches games and is a fan of their team, like we don't see a lot of this stuff. Like we don't
No.
see that perspective. And so when you come on my pod and you tell me about the difficulty that you had to play through and the difficulties that you've seen through teammates and play and people that you knew, and then I have someone like Justin Britt come on my podcast, offensive lineman for the Seahawks, and then went on to play for the Texans. And
Yeah.
how, his last game in the NFL, he was in his car for hours just crying, and he was dealing with a lot of anxiety, and he was going through a mental health, battle.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
great to see him in a much better place now, and he's doing this whole running thing, and his Instagram's popping off, and it's great. Like it's fantastic. It's
Yeah.
amazing. But
Beautiful.
like, here's a guy who, especially during his time with the Seahawks, was a stud. Like I remember when
Yeah.
we the 49ers would
Yeah.
play the Seahawks, like he would always give us trouble. Like he was always so solid.
Yep.
And like that's something that you would never really know unless you either hear it directly from him or on a podcast or, perhaps some other form of media in another interview. And
Yeah.
so it just gives you more perspective. And I
Mhm.
think for the average fan, gives you a little more appreciation for what these guys are
Yeah.
doing out there, and it's not just football, it's any sport, and
Any
girls
sport.
and
Yeah.
whoever plays, right?
Yeah.
Just a better appreciation for the sacrifice, the battles, all those different things. And I know people are going to listen to this, and because I've seen it in the Instagram comments and on other places, people always say like, well, I also work a job and nobody cares about my mental health, and it's like, that's terrible too. Like there's no
It
reason
is.
to
Yeah.
compare, how is one thing worse than the other is. No, not at all. Like anyone who's struggling with it, anyone, like it's
Yeah.
bad for anyone to go through a mental health battle, whether you're an athlete, whether you're
Yeah.
whoever. And
Yeah.
so I know people,
Spot
people
on.
are like, well, athletes get paid so much money, and like, what are they complaining about? Like they have, like, I've seen the comments, like
Mhm.
I'm sure you have too. Like, and so that's not what I'm not even going to address that. Like there
No.
is an aspect of these athletes go through real battles, real
Yeah.
hardships, real stuff. And one of the purposes of this podcast is to try and bring
Yeah.
that to light, to bring that, so just so we're all more aware of it.
Yeah. No, I think it's just awareness. You know what I mean? Everyone does have a battle. That's why I never complained about how hard it was.
Mhm.
I'm speaking about my journey just to one, help other people become more aware, help educate, instill some wisdom, and whatever battle they're going through. Just be open and honest about, my career. But yeah, it's just awareness. I know people are struggling in this world. I pray for all of them. I pray for this world. I pray for the battles, the wars, everything. Again, that's why I didn't really, think I needed to, pray, because I was, other people were going through way worse. But it's just awareness, man. At the end of the day, for me, I mean, I don't care who I meet. It doesn't matter. It's just being, genuine and real, and, always carried myself humbly, because at the end of the day, I'm just human. Everyone's going to a job trying to provide. We all have our battles. And just because we have a helmet on and we're on TV sometimes, and, we're, you know, looked at a certain way because we play for these organizations, dude, we're human, underneath it. And we have our own battles, man. And yes, we do get, paid well, but there is high cost to it in some situations. Not everyone's making those big checks. I mean, look at me. Sometimes, I don't even want to discuss numbers, but just not taking home nothing almost sometimes. Because I invested a lot into my training and my body. But yeah, man, I mean, it's just awareness. This what you're doing is awesome. I think it can give fans an experience, and know, more behind the scenes with a lot of the players and what they go through. So kudos to you. I appreciate you for having me on. But yeah, man, we're all human here. The goal is just to make the world a better place. That's it. So
I want to read you something that you posted on Instagram.
Yeah.
279 weeks ago. So
Okay.
public math, that is about almost 6 years ago. You said it took 4 years to get the opportunity I've been working for in the NFL this past season. For those of you in a dark place right now, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Whatever your journey entails, always remain faithful, surround yourself with love and positivity, and most importantly, believe in yourself. You truly can accomplish anything you desire. And
Mm.
that's you talking about starting in your first NFL game. What what comes to mind when you hear that quote?
Which quote was this and which picture?
So this was 6 years ago. I think this was in reference to you starting in your first NFL game. Let me see if I can pull up the picture real quick.
Dude,
Because I
if you
was,
can, yeah. I'm like, dang, that's a deep message, man.
yeah. I mean, I saw it and I was like, this is, this would be perfect for the pod. Let me see if I can get to it real quick. But I,
Yeah, if
I
you can
I
put it
love
in.
I love that last message, man. Whatever your journey entails, always remain faithful. Surround yourself with love, positivity, and most importantly, believe in yourself. You truly can accomplish anything you desire.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get to it here real quick. It's a while ago. Let's see. Um,
Dang, yeah, that was 2020. I think I don't know, were we playing the Seattle Seahawks or was it Arizona Cardinals?
this might have been, yeah,
Uh,
279 weeks ago. It's a picture of you, number 64.
yeah,
Look,
standing there solo.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know what picture you're talking about. Yeah, man. What was your question about that picture?
Just what comes to mind when you hear that quote? Like, is there anything that, any emotions, anything that
Oh
comes
yeah, I
up?
mean, dude, that was quite honestly a tearjerker. Almost. I pulled it back. It's just, dude. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, man. And at that time, um, yeah, I mean, I was just fighting 3 or 4 years before just to get the opportunity I wanted. A lot of work. It's a long time being that consistent, giving that much into it. I mean, again, I mean, I was obsessed enough with my craft to where it kind of affected like just my personal life. Like I wouldn't, I would choose working out and trading over, anything else, loved ones, and spending time with them because I just knew I needed to, work my butt off. Right. Because of that fear and uncertainty. Um, but yeah, man, it's just as real as it can be, though. Just no matter what, just always remain faithful. In those dark times, surround yourself with people that love you, that support you. That are genuinely care about you. Always keep a positive mindset, and yeah, it's going to work out. And for me in that moment, it was, and very grateful for it. That was a good year of ball, and yeah, man. I think the last picture, because initially I thought you were talking about my picture I posted in 2024 season, because I literally said the same thing. It
Mm.
took me 4 years to play in another game, and it was the one where I make the tackle on special teams against the Dolphins. It was that game for my brother Joey, who passed away. Or before, quite before, a little like couple weeks before that game. So, um, yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. Yeah, 4 years of grinding on the practice squad. I think that message too, and that one was about, kind of mental health, and, kind of trying to spread awareness around that, dedicate that game to him. And, yeah, the 4 years and 4 years, man, it's kind of part of the journey, just always just keep going, just keep going. It'll work out.
291 weeks ago, you posted another picture and you said, adversity defines you. Keep pushing and let hard work speak for itself. It will pay off no matter your desires in life. When you think through some of the adversity that you've been dealt, what are some stories or examples that come to mind, and how did you push past those?
Man, Yeah, I mean, I think the passing my father, um, showing up to work, getting back to it, taking advantage of every off season. I mean, that's the biggest one for me. And then, I mean, just the years I spent, man, no matter what, I face adversity. I mean, it doesn't matter if it was one practice, a training camp or a whole season, you're going to experience it. I mean, it could be adversity every day. You know what I mean? Every day it's going to be, you have to push yourself. And yeah, man, I really just to really break through that for me and with adversity was just never quitting. Right. So, just keep, there's an analogy. It's, chopping wood, right?
Mm.
Sharpening your axe every day, taking care of the things you need to do. And, when it's time to go, we're chopping down trees and, um, you know, just chopping wood, man. Just keep chopping. So, but yeah,
When you look back on your NFL career, are you satisfied with the career that you had?
um, am I satisfied? I would, man, that's a good one, huh? Satisfaction. I think I'm satisfied because I can walk away and know I gave everything. And I did everything I could possibly. I worked my butt off. Um, I took advantage of every opportunity that was given. Um, I've asked myself now more than ever, like, well, not so much. I find myself to ask it, but I cut it off. Like, should I have done this more? Should I have done that? Like, just kind of doubting if I gave enough, even till this day. Should I have, you know, I mean, just took it to a whole nother level. But for me to take it to a whole nother level, it would require me to not even have a personal life, in my opinion. I'd have to be single, I'd have to be just so fixed, not disregard my wife and everything and go lock in and put myself in a cave and not talk to nobody to achieve what I wanted to. Um, just because of the position, limited talent, I had, the size, the politics and the stamp I had coming into the league because I had a bad pro day, right? Everyone's saying I'm too slow, too small, this and that, right? So, but I cut that off real quick, man. And, I let myself, I did everything I possibly could. I enjoyed it. Um, I'm proud of myself, and I know my family is too. And that's all that matters. So I am satisfied. And yeah, man. But there's something, there's
There's a
something.
little bit
Oh man,
there's a little
there's a
what
little,
if.
yeah, there's a little like, man, just because I know, man, they'll see. I'll be posting more content of like things I've done on the field, man. Because man, yeah, it's just I was undeniable, for a couple of seasons, and um, dude, yeah, I could go all day about those intricacies and these training camp scenarios and like all these little things, but it's a whole nother podcast there.
Yeah. Um, I'm curious, this might be an interesting question. You talk a
Yeah,
lot
tell me.
about hard work
Yeah,
and you talk a lot about, just being undeniable, right?
yeah.
And what I was thinking about while you're giving your last answer here and talking about like there's that little what if, like, could I have taken it to another level? Is there an athlete or anyone for that matter that you look up to that you say, wow, their work ethic is something like I would love to have, or I strive to work as hard as insert blank, either while you're in the league, either now out of the league? Like, is there someone that you look up to and say, damn, I wish I had their work ethic?
No, nobody.
Hmm,
No,
interesting.
nobody has. Yeah, nobody, in my opinion, has my work ethic. And those that know me know that. But yeah, no, I mean, no one could outwork me. No day of the week. Um, that's kind of just my mindset, being a warrior on the field. No one's outworking me. I mean, guys are getting hurt 2 weeks in training camp. I'm the only one surviving. I'm taking reps. Everyone's reps. I'm outworking everybody. But then it comes back quote like is what is it? It's working hard, like working harder or working smarter. I kind
Mm.
of had to hit that point. Like I got to start working smarter here. You know, because I can work hard. And for me, I think what I envy the most about like other athletes is one, just the their financial situation of be able to invest so much more into themselves than I had. I was restrained. I mean, if I had $100 million contract, $50 million tractor, I have a personal trainer with me everywhere I go. Same systems. I have the whole suite of recovery. I mean, I would be a machine and a robot. I mean, I was already a robot with everything I have, and I'm blessed to be around the Niners because we had a lot of those modalities I can leverage and take advantage. And I did. I lived in that building, even in the off season. Like I was there. Um, but yeah, that's one thing. Like, I don't wish I had the work ethic because I had that. I wish I had the resources of like financials to take full advantage of everything. Um, that I knew I can achieve. Like, it's a whole nother game. When you definitely you're getting paid the money you do to compete at a high level. I mean, you can change a lot. You can hire the nanny to watch your kids, right? Um, I mean, you can get the food you want to eat and not have to worry about, the cost of that. Yeah. So when you have, those resources, you have the financials to back, how hard you want to go. You start paying for services that can buy back your time, right? Hire the nanny to watch your kids, you hire the chef to cook your meals, like, you just build a whole next level routine. That's the only thing I wish, I had more of. But work ethic wise and watching people's off season, um, no, no one outworked me and did anything close to what I think the standard should be. And honestly, that's my mission with my training business now is helping athletes understand the importance of their training, taking care of their body, their sleep habits. I was again blessed to have the Niners who spent a lot of money on their resources, bringing in sleep specialists, doing the brain work, breath work to help your nervous system go from parasympathetic to sympathetic. All these different things that educated me that I took advantage of, and yeah, so my mission is to give back my training philosophies that have helped me to every athlete because again, people that touch our programs and the system we train, they go and turn their careers around. Um, and I know if anybody had access, like all these guys, there's freaks in the NFL. If they trained in the systems I did with uh, some effort, dude, they'll be 10 times. One, they'll help eliminate a lot of injuries. Two, they'll just be 10 times stronger than they've ever been. Just because what we focus on. Um, and I have a testimony alone, with someone I hopped on 4 years in the Niners, but he was kind of kept within the organization to, attack his body. And Siobhan Kinlaw, battling injuries. He saw how it worked. And a lot of guys would ask, hey, what are you doing? Where do you go? I mean, Marcel, he was a safety for the Niners. I forget his last name right now. Marcel. I mean, he came and I referred him out. I sent him over to David. You got to go train with him. Check it out. Kerry Hyder. I even referred him to David. Go train with him and change your life, dude. The dude came out of like 12 weeks of work, 6-pack, looking best shape of his life. Sent it to his agent. His agent sent it to the team. He signed with the Dallas Cowboys the next week. Like just because that testimony alone, right? So I always referred to people and athletes to what I did because I know if they touched it, oh my gosh, their seasons are going a whole different direction. Like athletes nowadays are leaving so much change on the table in their abilities, just because of the workouts, and it's not their fault. It's education. It's education and having access to that resource. So my mission is to give them access to that resource. There's top trainers in our programs around the country, but they're not everywhere. So That's what I'm working on to bridge. But back to that testimonial was, Javon was struggling, battling injuries. After his last year with the Niners and his contract, he came with me. He worked with me for 3 months. Been as strong as he's ever been the strongest he's ever been. And showed up to Jets training camp. I think they had three inter squad scrimmages that year. No injuries, nothing. Just kept going. Workhorse ready to go. Carried into season, no injuries, and then he finished the whole healthy season. Balled his butt off. Just from 3 months of work with us, and went to go get that paycheck from the Washington Redskins. Right. So 2 years, maybe 30 million or something like that. So, like, that's the kind of things, like, if people took my small career of an undrafted free agent playing 9 years in the league and my habits and the system that I was coaching and mentored in, and turn that to the foundation of what the standard of work ethic looked like. And athletes started applying that into their God-given abilities, brother, we're talking unlocking a whole nother, side of these athletes, man. And that's what I'm here to do. It's Barrett Performance. We'll have it app based. We'll get trainers to build a service for, any of our NFL athletes that, want access to this. Yeah. So that's the mission, man. I took it as far as I could with my 6'2", 255-pound, body, man. We get a defense in that's 6'5", 265, and we're good to go. We're going to get him paid, right? O lineman, it don't matter in all sports, man. Even, people that just want to get in shape and attack, be pain free. We could build in programs as well. So I have some finance consulting business, Barrett Capital as well. Started that in 2024. And now I'm helping for the NIL space as well, educate them on how to monetize, their NIL, and just, take advantage of, the opportunities they have, the brand deals, reaching out to companies. And yeah, man, I mean, it pays off. I've built extreme relationships over my years with brands just by reaching out, being in their DMs, saying, hey, I would love to, kind of build it and collaborate. What can I do to, help you guys and, help myself maybe, get some product or, get paid for it. Right. So these young kids nowadays, man, they're in a world where they can take advantage of the opportunity, man. I mean, these kids are getting paid more than NFL guys, as you know. So, and kids are staying in college because they're getting paid more than what they're going to make in a rookie contract, right? So it's a different game nowadays, bro.
Yeah, love it. Alex, can't thank you enough for coming on, man. This was awesome. Such a genuine conversation. You're an awesome guy. A lot of great advice. Thanks again for coming on. This is great. It's been one of my favorite conversations. I feel like it's one of the most genuine conversations I've had, and that just speaks to your honesty and your transparency. So, I respect you for coming on and for being open. It means a ton when I can have conversations like this and truly feel like I'm connecting with someone. Before we go, though, where can people find you and more of your work?
Man, follow me on Instagram, at alex.barrett. Alex Barrett. I mean, Twitter at Alex Barrett. You'll be able to see every link to, the businesses I'm starting, how I'm helping athletes. And yeah, I'll be able to follow my journey, man. So that's the best way you'll get the website links and all that, man, if you guys want more information or details. So I appreciate you guys for having me. Man, yeah, and it's been an honor.
Awesome. Yeah. And all those links will be in the description. So if you want to check out Alex, I highly suggest you do. Go check him out. Go check him out. Go check out what he's doing. Alex, thanks again, man. Thanks a ton for coming on.